While most kids are already back to school, that doesn't mean summer is over yet. We just saw a peek of next week's forecast. Looks like it could get a little warm. Labor Day weekend around the corner and the nice weather holding up. There is still time for camping weekends.
Yeah, KHQA's Lauren Khalil, well, she's live from Wakanda this morning to give us some tips on how to stay safe. Hey, Lauren.
Good morning, guys. I am live here with Laura Sievert this morning and her little man here. They have been having a lot of fun camping, but tell me a little bit about what people need to know. I mean, people are starting to get to school, but they can still go camping on the weekends.
Absolutely. This is Wakanda State Park, and it's just a 10-minute drive from Quincy, 15-minute drive from your doorstep. And it really is a good place for the whole family, obviously. I got Elliot out today. But what's great about this park is it can feel like a big vacation without really leaving home. You know, you can, and if the weather gets bad, hey, you pack it in and head back to Quincy. It's not a big deal, you know. So it's a beautiful state park, and it's right in our backyard. So it's really encouraging to see people get out and use it.
What are some of the things that people can do while they're camping here?
During the fall is a really good time. We've got there's great trails out here. They range in size from about a half-a-mile trail, so that's good for little kids. But there are ones that go fully around the lake, and they're about 3.5 miles. If you're a trail runner, it's actually a great trail because it's really well kept and nice and wide. There are lakes and both john boats and kayaks for rent. Really affordable, $15 for the day on a kayak, on a little sit-on-top kayak. So it's a really just terrific place for the whole family.
And especially with Labor Day weekend coming up, do you think that people kind of need to plan that trip now, or is it something where you can just decide the day of to come up?
Wakanda generally has availability, but you're always better off booking in advance. So whichever state park you choose, whether it's here, Siloam Springs, I really like Quiver River down in Troy, Missouri. I recommend booking that campsite a little early, especially for those major weekends. Otherwise, if you fancy a weekday trip, you have the park all to yourself. It's beautiful out here.
And when it comes to having the whole camping experience, why do you think that's such a great thing to do with your family?
Well, it's great to unplug. So when we come out here, I guess our phones are here, but they're not on, and our computer is off, and our television is off. And, you know, just here this morning, we were looking at some stars and pointing out some constellations and getting time to cuddle with little baby. And, you know, camping is a great experience for the whole family because you're really bonding with each other instead of having that digital screen in front of you. So we like to get out and do it all summer long and even into the fall. And we come over here and hike in the winter and snowshoe and cross-country ski here in the winter, so it's a great park year-round.
Okay, Laura, thank you so much. Great to hear that there's some outdoors things that you can do locally and bring the whole family along. But we'll check in with her a little later to talk about some safety trips and what you need to know to bring on the camping experience. Yes, good morning, guys. I am live here with Laura Sievert, and we have a lot of different tools in front of us that will hopefully keep us safe when we go camping. So let's talk about some of them. What do we need here for our camping trip?
You know, the first thing to think about is actually not even these things. The first thing to think about if you're taking a day trip over to one of these parks is just sunscreen and bug spray. I mean, just common sense says to make sure you stay out of the sun and that. But if you're doing a more intense trip or if you're doing some hiking and things, it's good to have first aid along. So this is our first aid kit. It comes in this nice waterproof bag, so it's terrific. And it has everything you could need, I think, if you had just an injury out on the trail. Some of the must-haves would be some gauze and some Band-Aids, maybe some tweezers for both bug removal or splinter removal or those sort of things, and some way to signal for help if you actually got in some major trouble. So my signal here in this case that I brought along is a little whistle. I'll go, little whistle. This is actually real thin and light. And you can keep it around your neck. But the universal signal for distress is a 3 whistle. So a quick 3 whistles on and off, so people know that that's an unusual noise to hear. So that's a signal to help rescuers find you.
Can you give us a demonstration just to wake everyone up?
I'll stay away from your mic. How about that?
Okay.
So I'm not going to do it again in case somebody hears it and says,
they don't want to think you need help.
What's going on over here? But that's certainly important.
Okay.
People don't know how to use these. These are space blankets, are called space blankets often, and they actually they do keep in body heat really well. So if you were to get caught out in a situation where you're getting really cold and losing body heat quickly, you can wrap up in one of these, and it insulates you just like kind of an oven insulation almost, and will keep your body heat in.
Oh, okay.
So these are actually terrific if you're out in cold weather, or whether it gets cold.
Or if you get wet or
Or if
something
you
like
get
that.
wet
It's cold.
or anything
Okay.
like that, absolutely. And then anytime you're in an emergency situation, you should look at your kit and wonder what you can do to repurpose things. So I have my pot over here. We could purify water in that. If I can't start a fire, I have iodine in my kit. And you can purify the water with
clever.
the iodine. Right. So anytime you were to get in a major emergency, you'd want to look at your kit and say, okay, what do I have? What is it for? And what else could I do with it?
And then we have one more thing here. This is our poison ivy. How can people identify it when they are out going camping?
Interestingly, people don't know, but poison ivy has a lot of different looks depending on time of year. It can be bright green. It can be mottled red. Leaves of 3 Let It Be really is a good guide to poison ivy. And really don't go rolling around in the weeds is a great is a great step to avoid it. But if you see the red stems and the groupings of 3 and the pointed leaves, those are all good signs that you've got poison ivy. And my lovely husband went out and collected this poison ivy for us this morning.
What a good guy.
What a good guy. So you know, if you're going to handle it, definitely wear gloves or whatever. But you know, check for those leaves of 3 and the red stems, and that's a good way to see.
Okay, Laura, thank you so much. Good to know what we need to look out for. But then we have all of these other things in our kit to make sure that we stay safe. Good morning, guys. We are live here this morning with Laura Sievert. Just as the sun is about to rise, Tegan, it's not too cold out today. Thank you for that. Yeah. But we are by the fire. I think it's one of the most important things when you're going camping. What do people need to know when it comes to building a fire?
Well, first of all, obviously I've got my baby here today, so one of the best things to know is to keep fire safe with kids. He's not quite walking yet, but can crawl, and we really need to keep an eye on kids around fire and be safe. Once they get to walking stage, even larger kids need to be really cautious of I like to say a 3 to 5 foot radius around the fire, because if they're running or something, they could trip and they could fall. So it's really important to keep safe. When you're building a fire, no matter what your fire starting method is, there are 3 pieces to a good fire, and that's heat, a source of ignition, or a source of wood or whatever you're burning, and oxygen. And people don't often think of that oxygen component, but building that teepee style to start with is your best bet at getting a good fire. You want 3 sizes of kindling. So you start with the smallest kindling, the smallest pieces, and this is what you would initially start your fire in. When we come out here camping to Wakanda, since it's so close, we like to bring newspapers for this step. Then your medium-sized pieces, and then your bigger logs. Something important to know about bigger logs is you don't want to bring those from home. A lot of people will say, oh, I have some firewood, I'll just bring it along. It's actually illegal to do that. Because it can transport bugs and invasive species.
Oh, right.
So especially the emerald ash borer is a big concern. So you should always get your firewood and use it at the same location. So most of the state parks will sell firewood, or you can gather in some, check the local regulations, but you do not want to bring it from home.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I never even thought about that. What are some of the other things? I know we have some more stuff at the table that people would need to bring along if they were coming on a camping trip.
Well, you have the option, you know, of any type of camping. Most people try to say bring the minimum that you really need to enjoy yourself, because the more gear you have, the more it's like home and you really haven't done, you know, they call it glamping. But that being said, if you're going with a family and you want to have a good time and bring marshmallow roasting sticks, by all means, bring that stuff.
Right.
So this is a really cool thing if you want to grab it there.
Oh, yes.
This is our favorite little toy here.
Yep.
This is marshmallow, telescoping. I don't
know. I think I would really like this, though.
Marshmallow roasting stick, and I thought that was such a cool little invention. And if you're out with a bunch of kids, absolutely bring that kind of thing. It's a lot of fun. If you were backpacking now, if you were going into backcountry, you wouldn't want to bring something like this because
too much room.
It takes up room. It's heavy, you know, for no reason to add weight to your pack. So you'd want to stay away from that. But if you're just coming over to Wakanda to have a good time with your family, it's a really cool piece of gear.
Okay, Laura, well, thank you so much. A lot of good information, especially about building the fire. It's good to know that don't bring your own wood, because, you know, I wouldn't have known that. So
yeah.
So it's good to have those details, especially with Labor Day coming up. You guys want to stay safe. We want to make sure nobody's breaking.
Hey,
good morning, guys. I am live here with Laura Sievert this morning, and her little guy. He has been a trooper all morning long. So Laura, we're inside the tent right now. Tell me why this is such a good family fun adventure to go camping.
Well, you know, sometimes a trip has to be all of this big ordeal, right? Getting your plane tickets, finding your hotels, getting a car, all of those things. A camping trip can be close to home, really fast to arrange, and a really great way to just get out of town for a minute and have fun with your kids. I've got a 1-year-old here. It's never too early, really, to take a baby camping. Ooh, there was some geese flying overhead. I don't know if the people can hear that. It's never too early. He actually was over here at his first time at about 4 months old in the wintertime. So they don't get any lighter, so it's a good time to take them when they're little and put them in a backpack and go hiking.
What are some of those, you just mentioned hiking, but what are some of those other fun activities that you can do outdoor where you're really disconnected? We have more geese. I think they're following us.
There's a whole flock right over our heads. It's fall, I guess. You know, here at Wakanda, there are great opportunities. There's a swimming area that's open all summer long. There are trails, there are kayaks, there are john boats that you can rent, you can fish, you can hike. And what's great about this park is it's so close to Quincy. It's 15 minutes from your doorstep. I personally love the different sizes of trails. There's a 1/2-mile trail and there's a 3.5-mile trail. So there's a lot of different options for where to go walking. I know, that's pretty cool.
Microphone.
And it's really fun for us to come out. My husband and I have been doing this our whole lives, and now that we have a baby, we want to have him involved in that.
And why do you think, I mean, we have so much that we brought here. We've been going over all the first aid kit, all the different things that you can bring on a camping trip. How important is it to make sure that you bring that stuff back with you when you're leaving the park?
Absolutely. Campers use what's called the leave no trace ethos, which is just to say, whatever you bring in, bring out. Be courteous and let other people enjoy this park, because if you've left trash or if you've let your newspaper blow off into the woods, you know, you've just ruined the experience for somebody else. And you want your family to be able to come back and enjoy the place, and you want other people to be able to do the same. So it's always important for whatever you brought in to take out with you.
Okay, Laura, thank you so much. It's been a great morning. We've learned a lot of good tips for people going camping, and don't think that it's too late just because school has started for you kids. You still have the weekend, and we have Labor Day weekend coming up, so still plenty of time to come out and enjoy the outdoors with your family. Back to you guys in the studio.
It makes me want to go camping.
I know, it sounds like a lot of fun. You hear the geese out there. It's kind of the ambient sound. I like that.
Laura makes me feel bad having her almost 1